participate. Could I ask colleagues to ensure that phones are switched to silent for the duration of the meeting? And in addition, I refer you to the protocols for remote meetings, which have been previously highlighted in the scrutiny committee. I'd like to ask Jane now to take a roll call and at the same time ask any members if they have any declarations of interest. Jane?
Thank you, Chair. I'll start with you. Any declarations of interest?
No.
Leader?
No, no.
Councillor Carl Clement Williams?
Yeah, I'm here, and no, I don't.
Councillor Mike Harvey?
Yeah, Jane, I'm present. I get declarations of interest. CCTV was mentioned items 5, 6, 7 and 9, and the police are mentioned items 5 and 6. And I work for the police.
And I will send you a form shortly, Councillor Harvey, for you to complete. Councillor Jones, Doreen Jones?
I'm here, no interest.
Councillor Leanne Jones?
I'm here, Jane, and no declarations.
Councillor Lockyer?
Here, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Rees?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
Councillor Richards?
Present, Jane, no declarations.
And Councillor Wynne gives apologies. Councillor Harman?
Sorry, present, and there's no declaration of interest.
Thank you, Councillor Harman. And we've had apologies from Councillor Freeman. I will now go on to officers. Karen Jones?
Yeah.
Nicola Pierce?
Present, Jane.
Andrew Jarrett?
Yeah, present, Jane.
Andrew Thomas?
Present, Jane.
Hugh Jones?
Yeah, I'm present, Jane.
Craig Griffiths?
Present, Jane.
Nicola Blackmore?
Present, Jane.
Karen Furlow?
Present, Jane.
Shannon Davis?
Present.
Is there any other officer present or member that I haven't called their name out who is participating in the meeting? I can see no indications. Chair, so that roll call has been complete. You're on mute, Chair.
Thank you. Agenda item 3 then is Chair's announcements. I don't have any announcements today. Agenda item 4 is the declaration of interest, which we've just gone through. So agenda item 5 is the draft corporate plan 2022 to 2027. The report is on pages 3 to 182 and is here for a decision. Karen, I know we've discussed this and you've probably fed up of talking us through it. Anything you'd like to add?
Just very briefly, Chair, to say that what we're bringing back today is a slightly revised plan following the public consultation. The responses we had back from the public consultation are attached with the document. It doesn't materially affect the overall direction of travel, but there were some changes we made to make it clearer what the intentions were. We've reflected the decision to bring the leisure service back in-house into the document now, and a lot of others were really about how we were going to implement the plan, and we'll report on those as we take the monitoring reports forward. So provided Cabinet is satisfied with the revised plan in front of you, the plan is then to take it to Council tomorrow for members then to consider adopting it.
Okay, thanks, Karen. Any questions of any colleagues? No, don't see any. Okay. So I'll refer you to recommendations on pages 11 and 12, along with the appendices 1, 2, 3 and 4, one of which is the integrated impact assessment. I'll move.
I'll second, Leader.
Thank you. Just as a reminder for the process, then, colleagues, if you do not indicate to the contrary by raising an electronic hand, I will assume that you're in favour of the recommendation.
I can see no indications to the contrary. Chair, so that item has been approved.
Okay, thank you, Jane. We move on to the next item then, agenda item 6, the revenue budget for 2022/23. Again, the report is on pages 183 to 238 and is here for a decision. Obviously, it was given a good airing and it had a good debate in Cabinet scrutiny. Here we, as Cabinet, have been asked to consider a cut in council tax. as opposed to the recommendation. During the debate, Hugh, there were members across the board who were praising you for your professionalism and the way you handle things. And what is your professional advice to Cabinet colleagues when we've been asked a question to consider a cut in council tax?
My advice, Leader, is, as I set out in the scrutiny committee, that a cut in council tax is not prudent, sustainable and affordable. And those are the three tests by which I have to provide all members of council in terms of the financial advice I give. So, in my opinion, as I say, a cut in council tax, a long-term cut in council tax is not, doesn't meet those criteria. So my recommendation to the Cabinet is, as I set out in the report, is that council tax should be frozen for next year.
Okay, and could you just remind me, so I can make a note of it, the three criteria: affordability, prudence and sustainability. And that's your professional advice coming to us? Yes, that's right, Chair. Okay, thanks you. I've got a couple of colleagues. I'll leave Carol as a relevant Cabinet member to last, so I'll go to Mike Harvey first.
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I think that like to praise him obviously for his work with this, and in view of the fact he says what he's recommended is anything else be not prudent, sustainable and affordable, we'll go with it. I think whatever figures we came up as a Cabinet and whatever Hugh came up with, we'd have the opposition coming up and asking for less. So I'm happy with this. I praise Hugh for his work, and I fully support that 0%. The last 4 years we've had the second lowest increase in Wales with council tax, and now this year at 0%. I think any council is going to come in at a lower rate than that. So I fully support this. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Mike. Doreen?
Yeah, carrying on from what Mike just said, I read an article this morning. So I was doing a bit of research, and we're the only council that's actually frozen the council tax this year. And even those that have put it to 4 or 5% have lowered it, because I think we've set an example. We started off in 1996 at a very bad way, but we've come through it, and I think we are one of the best councils, and we've been proven correct in all the financial advice that we've been following throughout the year. And you and Carol, you've done a fantastic job of making sure that we're going where we are. So I really don't see the point of political games. None of us know where this is going to end. God help, we don't even know if we're going to be here next week at the moment, do we? But the point is that we've got to carry on and think about the future administration. We can't tie the hands of the future administration for what we are doing now. So I'm with you, Hugh.
Okay, thanks, Doreen. Hugh, did you want to come back in on a specific point?
Yeah, just to clarify, Leader, what I said in the scrutiny committee around affordability. Yes, a cut would be affordable, but it's certainly not, in my opinion, prudent and sustainable. So just to make that point entirely, that a short-term cut, affordable, yes, but not prudent and sustainable. So I couldn't support it. Just to clarify that point, it just really dawned on me now, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, no, that's fine, Hugh. So it's a case of borrow now and pay back later, is it?
Yes, I think as Councillor Jones said, to burden a new administration with an immediate rise in council tax would not be, sorry, repeat the same words, prudent and sustainable, Chair.
Okay, that's fine, Hugh. Thank you very much. Peter Richards?
Yeah, just briefly, Chair. Hugh, Carol, thank you for all the work, and your teams, what's got into this. I know how difficult it's been for all of us. One question I've got is, if we were to cut the council tax, then surely how could that be equal? Because some people don't pay council tax, others pay less than others. So, my concerns around this equality, and I think to come up with the hardship fund, Hugh, I think it's the right way going forward, because then we could get that support to the people who need that support. So I think, you know, what's your view on that? It would be difficult to distribute, wouldn't it? You know, across the board.
I think you're right, Councillor Richards. If you look at the number of people, so around 10,500 people who are the who need support the most in our county borough don't pay any council tax at all. So a council tax freeze has no impact on them, as would a council tax cut have no impact on them. Likewise, there are probably people like myself within the county borough who can afford to pay council tax. So, you know, I agree entirely with what you say. I think a targeted approach is a better way of dealing with this current crisis.
Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Peter. Carol?
Thanks, Leader, and thanks for your comments, everyone. Yeah, that was the idea, Councillor Richards, bang on the money on that one. It's about the sustainability, isn't it? Yes, we could afford to lower it, but moving forward, then you've lowered it forever because you're always going to be catching up to get back to where you were before. I take the advice of my Section 151 officers very seriously, and I followed their advice over the last 5 years, along with the leadership. So I have no intention of speaking to Cabinet and asking you to lower council tax, because I'm going with the professional opinion of a CIPFA registered accountant, and I believe that we're targeting the monies to the right place at this point in time. It's that decision, you know, the Maslow's hierarchy of needs. I don't want anyone sitting there in 6 coats because they're freezing cold, not having the heating on, and it breaks my heart to think that we're in that position in this century. It's just absolutely blows me away. So I will continue to take the advice of the Section 151 officer, and I would ask that you agree to freeze the council tax. Doreen, I think Bridgend have made noises that they will be setting it at 0 as well. So I am really proud that in Neath Talbot we have set standard, and the councils are reducing their budgets now. Council tax rises now as a result, I believe. If you know, we are out there and we are just leading the way, and I am really proud of our teams, and I would like to thank Hugh and everyone else for all the reports today. I do know how much hard work goes into them, so thank you, Leader, and I hope that we all decide to freeze that.
Okay, thanks, Carol. I don't see any other indications. So I'm quite happy to refer colleagues to recommendations on pages 196 and 197, along with the appendices 1 to 7, one of which is the integrated impact assessment. I'm happy to move.
I'll second that, Chair.
Okay, thank you very much. Again, as in the previous item, if you don't indicate to the contrary, I'll assume we're all happy with it.
I can see no indications to the contrary, Leader, so that item has been approved.
Okay, thank you, Jane. So agenda item 7 is a capital strategy and capital programme 2022-23 to 24-25, pages 239 to 260 of our pack. Hugh, anything you want to add?
No, nothing to add, Chair. I think the report is self-explanatory, sets out the proposed capital programme for the next 3 years. We've had some discussion and scrutiny around it, but I'm happy to propose it as it is, Chair. Thank you.
Thank you, Hugh. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Don't see any. Okay, I'll refer members then to the recommendations on page 249, along with appendices 1 and 2. I'll move.
A second, Chair.
Go.
I can, yeah, I can see no indications to the contrary, Chair.
Thank you, Jane.
So
Okay.
that recommendation has been approved.
Okay, so I'll go on to the monthly budget monitoring report, which is agenda item 8, pages 261 to 282 of our pack. Again, Hugh, anything further you want to add?
Nothing particularly, Chair. Obviously, the position is set out in the report along with the proposed contributions to reserves as detailed on pages 270, 71 and 72. So, yeah, that's all I wanted to mention, Chair. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. Any questions or comments from colleagues? No, don't see any. So I'll refer colleagues to recommendations on pages 273, along with appendices 1 and 2. I'll move.
I second, Leader.
You see anything to the contrary?
No indication to the contrary, Leader, so that item has been approved.
Okay, thank you, Jane. So we'll go on to agenda item 9, the capital budget monitoring report 2021 to 22, pages 283 to 296. Again, Hugh, anything further?
No, nothing to add to this report, Chair. Thank you.
Okay, any questions or comments from Cabinet colleagues? I don't see any. Okay, so I'll refer colleagues to recommendations on pages 286 to 287, along with appendices 1 and 2. I'll move.
I second, Leader.
You. Anybody to the contrary?
I can see no indications to the contrary, Leader, so that's been approved.
Okay, agenda item 10. Treasury management strategy, annual investment strategy and minimum revenue provision policy. Pages 297 to 320 in our pack. Again, Hugh, any more?
Just to add, Chair, obviously these strategies govern our treasury management activity. Next year, they set the criteria by which we can invest. So they are important strategies. They're not changed from previous years and we'll continue to operate within these boundaries, Chair. So thank you very much.
Thanks, Hugh. Any questions or comments? Don't see any. So refer colleagues to the recommendations on page 313, along with appendices 1 and 2. I'll move.
I second, Leader.
You. Don't see
I can see no indications of contrary, Leader, so
Okay.
that item has been approved.
Okay. Hugh, before I go on, can I echo the thanks that have been expressed to you for all you said. Well, I can see Nicole's on the call as well, but to you and all your team for the reports that's been placed in front of us today, and for the way that you've answered the questions and the queries as well. So thank you very much on behalf of us all, Hugh. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you. Appreciate those kind words.
You. Okay, I have one urgent agenda item number 11, and that is the proposal to create a targeted hardship relief scheme. The report is on pages 1 to 4 of the supplementary pack, which is circulated separately, and it's here for decision. Hugh, do you want to add anything to this?
Just to clarify, Leader, that this report is asking for Cabinet approval to set aside £2 million into a specific reserve to develop a hardship relief scheme, and that I will be working with officers across the council to develop an appropriate scheme as soon as possible, and we'll be bringing it back to Cabinet for approval. So that's all I wanted to add, Leader. Thank you.
Okay, thanks, Hugh. Any questions or comments from colleagues? Peter Rees.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you, Leader. Yeah, I just wanted to compliment you and Carol for bringing this forward, for this whole suggestion of the hardship fund, because this hardship fund is going to have implications right across the county borough. No question about that. And I just wanted to emphasize how important it is for the children of the county borough to, who are in the families who are suffering. It's all very well when people have to go to food banks and so on. It's the children who actually suffer for that kind of thing, when they can't actually heat the food that because of the cost of living crisis that they're facing now. So I just wanted to say that, Chairman, that I compliment you both on bringing this. I think it's the right thing to do. I think the decision that we're making today will be applauded by everyone in the county borough. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Peter. Thanks very much. Carol?
I'd like to extend that to Karen and Hugh as well. It was a discussion that we all had, the four of us together, and so it was something that we sort of worked together between us, and I want to thank them for their help and support in bringing this forward as quickly as they did, because I think it's extremely important that there's a chance to get it through council tomorrow. So thank you both for all your help and support in this paper. Thank you.
I second that as well, Chair. Perhaps
Yep.
I wasn't aware of the conversation that had been going on, but I second that as well.
Yeah, thank you, Peter. I echo the comments as well. Peter Richards?
Yeah, similar to everybody, really welcome this. I think it's the right way to go forward. The only question I have, I think, for the Chief Executive, really, it might be evidence there that we need more money because, you know, the need out there with everything that's going on. Would we then be able to address that from reserves if we needed to top that up?
I think Councillor Richards, that's probably a question for us to answer, you know, down the line. I think at the moment, what he was saying is there's £2 million that's not earmarked for any other purpose at the moment. That is what we can afford. And the scheme will be seeking to identify those who are in greatest need and then to look at practical ways in which we can get the benefit of the decision you have been asked to consider this afternoon through to those people as quickly as possible. So I think it'll hinge around affordability. And I suppose what you were doing is you're plugging really gaps in the current benefit system. Because if we had an adequate benefit system, you know, and an adequate safety net for people, then we wouldn't be encouraging you to have to think about doing these kind of things. And obviously money you spend in one place is money you haven't got to spend in another place, as you know. So I think it'll be a question for the incoming administration, Councillor Richards, but I think you've got £2 million at the moment that you can use in this way, and that's the work that he will now take forward.
Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
Thanks, Peter. Just to add to what Karen said then, I think the two important words Karen said were greatest need. And this is the principle behind this hardship fund, is to try to get out there and help our residents that have got the greatest need. Hugh?
Just to clarify, Leader, this is an executive decision for this afternoon for the Cabinet, so it will not be part of council discussions tomorrow, just to make Cabinet members aware.
Yeah, fine. Thanks, Hugh. Okay, I don't see any other indications then. So I'll refer colleagues to recommendations on page 2 of the report. Before I move the recommendations, Councillor Rahman, as Chair of Cabinet Scrutiny, are you in support of the immediate implementation of the decision?
Yes, Leader, I'm in support.
Oh, much obliged. Thank you, Saif. Much appreciated. So I'll move the recommendation.
A second, Leader.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Don't see any indication to the contrary.
No, Leader, that item has been approved because there's no indications to the contrary.
Okay, thank you very much. So that fetches me to the end of the agenda. Can I thank everybody for their attendance and their contributions, not only in this meeting, but in the Cabinet Scrutiny meeting prior to it as well. So thanks to everybody. Declare the meeting closed now and wish you all what's a very good, what's left of the day, a very good day.
Thank you.
All. Thank you.
Bye.